Imagine this. You've booked a flight, reserved a hotel room, and marked your calendar months in advance. Tonight was supposed to be unforgettable. The lights, the stage, the voice that got you through breakups and breakdowns, Kelly Clarkson, was finally returning to the spotlight in Las Vegas. But just 90 minutes before showtime, everything fell apart. Without warning, fans received a last-minute announcement. Kelly had pulled out of the opening night of her highly anticipated residency. No warning, no backup plan. Just heartbreak. Social media exploded. Some fans were devastated. Others were furious. And then, the rumors started about her health, her personal life, even the future of her talk show. But what really happened behind the scenes? And is this just the beginning of something even more serious? Let's break it all down. On the evening of July 5th, fans were already lining up outside Caesar's Palace. The buzz was electric. For many, this wasn't just another concert. It was a chance to see Kelly Clarkson live, something that hasn't happened often in recent years. But just as the doors were about to open, everything changed at exactly 90 minutes before showtime. Kelly took to Instagram and dropped a message that no one saw coming. She explained that after weeks of non-stop preparation and rehearsals, the voice simply couldn't take any more. The strain was too much, and she made the difficult decision to postpone not just one, but 2 opening shows. She said, "I want the shows to be perfect for y'all, and I need to protect myself from doing serious damage." She wasn't just canceling on a whim. She sounded genuinely crushed, calling the decision devastating and thanking fans for always showing up for her. She promised the show was still incredible and swore she'd be back the following weekend. But despite her heartfelt message, the timing couldn't have been worse, and what followed online was an emotional storm. As soon as Kelly's post went live, social media erupted. For every fan offering support, another was venting frustration. And honestly, you could feel the heartbreak through the screen. Some fans had flown in from across the country, even overseas, spending thousands on flights, hotels, and non-refundable tickets. One user on Instagram wrote, "I genuinely believe artists should have to reimburse fans that travel for their shows and then cancel at the last minute." Another echoed the frustration. "I don't blame her for canceling, as I'm sure what's necessary, but there has to be some kind of insurance. We spent thousands to be here." Even worse, some were already dressed, in line, just minutes from entering the venue. One fan said, "I wish you would have done this sooner than 15 minutes before doors opening. I hope you feel better, but this hurt." It was a brutal reminder of just how invested people are emotionally and financially when it comes to their favorite stars, and while many understood Kelly's situation, the last-minute nature of the cancellation left a bitter taste. But in the middle of all the anger, something surprising started to happen. Just as the criticism hit its peak, a wave of support started to flood in. And it wasn't quiet. Fans who followed Kelly Clarkson for years jumped into the conversation not to argue, but to remind everyone why she deserved some grace. One fan wrote, "When you actually sing live, you're allowed this rest, that incredible instrument." And they weren't wrong. Kelly has never been the kind of artist to lip-sync her way through a set. She delivers every note, every night, completely live. That's when the comparisons to Adele began to pop up. Remember when Adele canceled her Vegas residency last minute? It caused a storm too, but fans still showed up in support. One person said, "When Adele canceled, we still had an amazing time. It's about more than the show, it's about respect." Another comment stood out, "Real artists take time to heal. Kelly's not a product, she's a person, and that's what made this moment different." Clarkson wasn't just canceling a gig, she was making a choice to protect herself, a rare move in an industry that often rewards pushing through until something breaks. But as more fans started connecting the dots, they began to wonder, was this really just about vocal strain? For some fans, this wasn't just a one-off cancellation. It felt like a sign, a crack showing through the polished image of a superstar who's been carrying too much for too long in recent months. Rumors have been quietly circulating that Kelly Clarkson has been dealing with very painful personal issues behind the scenes. Nothing confirmed, but enough chatter to raise eyebrows. And this sudden Vegas cancellation only fueled the fire. Back in May, Kelly herself hinted at the pressure she's under. While speaking to her audience, she admitted, "We haven't done a show in a while, y'all, 'cause I have a talk show. It's like a whole other job." It was a moment of raw honesty, the kind you don't usually get from a -listers. Fans started connecting the dots. Between her daily talk show grind, her responsibilities as a mom, and trying to prepare a full-scale Vegas residency, it's no wonder her body and voice finally said enough. Some even pointed out how often she's used the word devastated in her statements lately. That's not just a PR term, it sounds like someone who's emotionally and physically drained. Could this be more than just a cold or vocal fatigue? Is Kelly Clarkson quietly facing total burnout? If Kelly Clarkson is heading toward burnout, she might already have a plan to escape it. According to insider reports, Kelly intends to end The Kelly Clarkson Show when her current contract expires. In 2026, that would wrap up the series after season 7. And for many fans, that news hit differently in light of the Vegas cancellation. She hasn't made a dramatic public announcement yet, but sources close to the production say she's already preparing to walk away. And honestly, it makes sense. The daily demands of a syndicated talk show, filming, interviews, rehearsals, constant travel aren't easy, especially for someone who built her name on live performance, not daytime television. In many ways, this Vegas residency was supposed to be her big return to the stage. The Kelly fans know and love. No desk, no celebrity interviews, just her voice, her music, and her story. So when opening night didn't happen, it hit harder than anyone expected. For Kelly, this may be the beginning of a major shift, one that brings her back to her roots. But the road back to music may be more complicated than it seems. When Kelly Clarkson canceled her Vegas opening, it wasn't just the timing that shocked people, it was the tone. Her words weren't casual, they were heavy. Words like devastated, protect myself and you all deserve better, sounded more like a breaking point than a bump in the road. Fans who've followed her closely know Kelly doesn't use words lightly. This wasn't just about missing a note. It felt like a woman on the edge, trying to meet impossible expectations from every direction. And that's what made this moment feel less like a one-off and more like a warning. Because when someone like Kelly, a powerhouse, a professional, someone known for showing up no matter what, suddenly pulls the plug on her biggest live moment in years, you can't help but ask, what else is going on behind the curtain? Some fans have even begun speculating whether this residency will survive the year. Sure, 18 shows were announced, but what if her health doesn't bounce back? What if the pressure keeps building? It's a possibility no one wants to face, but one that's suddenly impossible to ignore. When Kelly Clarkson first announced her Las Vegas residency, studio sessions, fans were buzzing. It wasn't just another concert series, this was being framed as an intimate experience, crafted by Kelly herself, for the diehard fans who followed her since American Idol. Every detail promised something personal, raw, and unforgettable. But now, that entire vision feels shaky. 18 shows were scheduled at Caesars Palace, stretching all the way through November 15th. But after this sudden cancellation, just hours before the very first curtain, fans are wondering, is the rest of the residency in danger? Even though Kelly promised she'd return next weekend, that promise came with a big if. She said she needed rest. She hinted at vocal strain, and she made it clear she wouldn't push herself until she's ready. That leaves a big question mark over every date still on the calendar. Some fans are holding on to hope, believing she bounced back stronger. Others, they're already canceling trips, unsure if they'll ever get the Kelly concert they were promised. Because now, studio sessions isn't just a show, it's a symbol of everything Kelly's trying to balance, and everything that might be slipping through her fingers. In the middle of the backlash, speculation, and disappointment, one thing stood out: Kelly's heart. Even through a cancellation that left thousands frustrated, she spoke directly to her fans with honesty and vulnerability. She didn't hide behind a PR statement. She said exactly how she felt. I'm beyond grateful that you always show up for me, and I'm devastated to have to postpone tonight. That kind of raw honesty isn't common in Hollywood, and maybe that's what makes Kelly Clarkson different. She's not just a voice, she's a human being trying to survive in an industry that rarely gives space to breathe. Whether this is just a temporary pause or the first sign of a bigger shift, one thing is clear: Kelly's choosing her health, her voice, and her peace. And that takes courage. But now, the question is, will fans be willing to wait? Let us know what you think in the comments. Should artists face consequences for last-minute cancellations, or should we be giving them more grace to protect their mental and physical health? Either way, one thing's for sure: Kelly Clarkson's story is far from over.